Hello, hello, and happy Thursday. I hope everybody's been having a great week. I'm Debbie Danford from craftiercreations.blogspot.com. And if you watched Tuesday's video, you saw that this week I am showcasing the Happy Place stamp set, which is $1 million seller stamp set from Sharon Armstrong. And real quick, I can show you what I did on Tuesday in case you missed it, but you can go back and see the video. You can find my videos under Craftier Creations with Debbie on Facebook and or YouTube, but here's what we did on Tuesday's video. So today, I wanted to do things a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the way. And I did one, excuse me, gonna get a drink of my tea here. All right. I guess my voice wasn't quite ready to start talking yet. This one is a watercolor background that I had previously made in another video, and I will link that video below too so that you can watch that if you don't know how to do watercolor backgrounds. It's so simple, and there's so many different ways you can do it, but I love doing watercolor backgrounds. And it's always great to just some days just make a whole bunch of backgrounds, and then you save them up for times like this. So I stamped it in the Azure Afternoon, and then I just added a little bit of the gold and black linen thread that we have available. I thought that went quite well with it. This one here is a little bit different. If you notice, there's a different background here. Let me bring this up so you can see it. This is something new coming out in November. It's called the Lasting Linen Photopolymer Stamp Set. And it just gives a nice natural tone background that I think will work well with so many different like designs you might lay out. So I decided to try it on here. And then what I did is I took colored pencils and my blender pen and just added some color. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with this one because I think that's which one I have on top here. And I'll give you my dimensions as I go along, and I'll also try to remember to put them in the description below. So we have our card base. That's a standard card base, 5.5 by 8.5. And this is Pool Party that I'm using. And then I have a 4 by 5.25. That's for the inside. 4 by 5.25. That's for the layer here. And we're going to stamp on the 3 3/4 by 5 piece. So let's go ahead, and first what we're going to do is pull out our brand new, I only used it yesterday, so it's brand new, right? And as you also notice, this is our new packaging. And I did something a little different here that another demonstrator, Sherry Stokovich, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, had shared on how you can keep track of. This one, it doesn't matter as much because it's just one big bold stamp. But if you had a whole bunch, it's an easy way to keep track. So you just tape down when it's all together. When you first get it, it's loose in here. I just taped it down with tear and tape, stuck this down, inked it up, pulled off the top plastic, the thinner piece, and then folded this over and then attached the thin piece here too, so that every time you open it, it's going to open, pull off that plastic, and you'll be able to just pull this off and use it. So it's very easy to use. And I'll go through and show you more about that as we get closer to the November date when everybody can order. Now, as you see, I'm using my glass mat as my block. You can get out your big block, or if you have a Stamparatus, you can use that. Either works. I have found the big bold stamps, I like to just put them down on my glass mat. And if you don't have a glass mat yet, I have to really say, get a glass mat. Oh shoot, wow. Guess my pool party is, well, I'm not going to try to put it together on video here because it always takes me a few minutes to get it back together. And this is an old stamp pad. It's not one of the new ones. I don't think I have a pool party in the new one yet. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and ink it up. And I'm going to try a couple different things here. I'm going to do first and second generation. So I'm going to stamp on the front and the back to see which one we like better. I'm going to set this way out of the way so I don't... And you can huff on it a little bit if you feel you need to. I mean, we're inking it up so quickly, I think we'll be fine. And then I always just bring in a scrap piece of paper and kind of do the rubbing thing. You can use a brayer, you can use, if you have one of those tools that some people use with the Stamparatus, you can use that too, but I have found my hands work just as good. And then we're going to pull this up. And this is what our background looks like. Now, what I'm going to do, sorry if you saw the top of my head there, I'm going to flip it over and then I'm going to do the second generation. Now, Pool Party is really light, so it may not even show up. It may be really too light, but I wanted to try it. And then we can decide what side we want to use before we stamp on it. All right. So let's see how that turned out. Oh, see, Pool Party is so light you couldn't even see anything. So we're going to go with it just like that because that's what's working for us. I wasn't quite sure because I know, like I said, Pool Party can be a very light blue, and I probably need to re-ink mine a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and clean that, and then we will put that away. And again, I'll bring in the packaging here and I'll show, whoops, moved my whole desk. So you just lay this back down then. And then you just close this up. And there you've got your, everything stored in there. Nothing's moving around. You're not going to lose any stamps. And you put it back in your packaging and it's perfect. Okay, so let's bring this in. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to stamp the happy in Memento. And I use my grid lines on here all the time. It definitely does help to make sure you don't, you know, stamp something crooked. Not that it's perfect because, yes, I still stamped crooked. Okay, so there's our happy. It even looks good like that. Like I could have stamped it probably in Pool Party and it would have been fine. But I thought coloring it with the watercolor pencils, sorry, brain fart there for a minute. All right, now let's bring in, so I did Happy Life on that one. Let's do, and I did Happy Times. Let's do Happy for You this time. So I need to grab a little bit bigger block. Let's just switch it up a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to kind of stamp this off right there. Happy for You. I love this set for lots of reasons, but I love that they've done so many different types of font on here. I think that really, especially since this is big, bold letters here, and then you've got different font styles to go underneath. And I think that's just, I think it just makes the card look so much better when you're stamping with it. But that could just be me. Okay, so let's bring in, and let's see, I think I just used stuff from, this is the Watercolor Pencils Assortment Pack number 2. I also have, now this is an old one, and I'll be honest, I don't even remember if this one is still available or if we only have this one. But I think we have this one, but it's got some colors in it that are no longer active or current, I should say. But I think it's still available, but I think I used mostly from here. I used Balmy Blue. I think that's it down here. Let's see. Yep, Balmy Blue and Crushed Curry. And I think I used Cajun Craze, but I think this time I might I think I'm gonna go with Flirty Flamingo. We'll see. I may change my mind. Now, all you're gonna do, and I may have to sharpen this one a little bit, but we'll see. I started at the bottom and I just started coloring across with your watercolor pencil. It really is simple to do this. And then we're going to take the blender pen and just real lightly blend it all together. Now I'm not going in the middle spot. And in some places, you know, you can't see everything because it's kind of dark, but I think it still adds a little bit of color there. So makes it look really nice. Now, I didn't go all the way to the bottom because that's mostly black along there, so I didn't feel like we really needed to do that. You can. Okay, then I'm just going to go ahead and do all the coloring at once. I'm going to see if I can make this one work. So here's our crushed curry. And it looks a little dark here, but once we blend it, you're going to see a big difference. And I'm trying to keep my like line of where I'm going here even across there. So all right, so we're almost done here. Okay, there's that. And I am going to go ahead and try the Flirty Flamingo. What the heck, right? And as you can see, and this one may be too light. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, I think it'll be fine. And then we're going to go back with the blending brush, or the blender pen, because when you do that, once you do that with it, it really kind of blends it all together and makes it look really nice. I could have gone up a little bit higher, I see, with the crushed curry, but it'll be fine. And I am doing this a little dark, and I'm not being careful right now. I'm doing what I would call sloppy coloring, I guess you could say, because we're going to blend it all together. So then it will look a whole lot better once we're done here. And then this side over here, of course, and I'm pushing pretty hard just to get some good color, especially with this color because it is so light. So I'm putting some good pressure down here. Now we'll see how that all finishes out here. So we're going to take our blender pen now, and then we're just going to blend all this together. And then, as you can see, it kind of fills in where we might have missed a spot. Okay, see how that it really just kind of finishes it off when you take your blender pen and blend it all together there. I mean, these are awesome. Our blender pens are best thing ever. And then let me clean it off really. So you just take your scrap piece and kind of clean it till it's clear, and then you can move on to the next color. Okay, so we'll move on to this crushed curry, and you see it lightens it up a little bit. It's not so dark once we start blending with it. All right, and whoops, I almost went straight across, which I did that on on my sample there. I did it. Probably wouldn't even notice it if I hadn't pointed it out. And now let's do where we have the Flirty Flamingo, which I like. I like how that turned out. Either one works great, I think, but sky's the limit on coloring, on what the color combinations you could put together for this. Now, this stamp set is my bonus class for monthly club. If you're interested in finding out about my monthly club, there'll be a link below that you can click on. This is always an extra I offer. Monthly club itself is $39.50. That includes shipping. You make 5 projects, 2 of each. Whoops. And it includes $15 to $20 in product every month. And then on your 6th month, you get $20 in product, $20 to $25 in product as a gift, as a thank you gift. So I love my monthly club members, and I let them vote on the bundle. I don't pick and say, okay, this is what we're using this month. I let them vote prior to that month, and that way they have a little bit of say-so of what they want to work with. So there we go. There's that. Basic card is already made. So then all we're going to do is add some adhesive here. And then I'll show you how I did this. I just want it to be long enough. Yeah, that's good. And then I literally just tied a knot. Nothing fancy here. Just tied a knot just to do something a little bit different. And then I'll attach that to there. And let's straighten this out. And this one over here. And then I'll trim it off. If I don't have to cut right away off my ribbon or whatever I'm using, I try to leave it on. Then you have less waste that way. It doesn't always work that way, but it's nice when you can have it work that way. Okay, flip this back over and see. Yes, isn't that pretty? It's just different. Just a different way of attaching it. I'm going to go ahead and attach a little bit more adhesive here just so that these don't come undone. Okay, now let's go ahead and layer this up on our basic black, which is 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, and then this is going to go on our card base, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. And as you notice, I work in a flat surface. I don't fold my card till I'm done. Unless it's some kind of fun fold or something like that, then I do. And this is going to be one of those times that I'm actually not decorating the inside of the card, because I felt with this, I just didn't really have anything to put on the inside of it. And that's okay. Not every time has to, but it is nice when you can. Okay, so there's our first card. Oops, bling. I used the rainbow adhesive back dots, and I used them for both cards because that's how I kind of came up with my color combination. I looked at what I had available in some bling that I hadn't used and decided to just pull in some of those. I feel like sometimes that's a great way to use up some of those, some of that bling you might have. So I brought in the pool party here. And we'll do another small one over here. And I'll put it right there. Okay, and then we're going to use the Azure Afternoon one on the other one. All right, so there's our first card. Happy for you, happy life. I like the Flirty Flamingo. I like both, honestly. So there's that one. Okay, now let's bring in our second one here. And this one I did have a strip for the inside because we cut it off of here. Okay, so on this one, what we're going to do, once you make your watercolor background piece, and like I said, I'll link the video on how to do that. And it's really easy. And I do it when I'm like maybe not feeling very creative or want to do some watercolor backgrounds. And then I just do a whole bunch of different color combinations and kind of just stick them in a shelf, and then I pull them out for times like this. Okay, we're going to go ahead and stamp with the Azure Afternoon. And I'm going to trim this down when I'm done. Actually, I'm going to trim it down first. We'll go ahead and trim it first. I was thinking I would trim it afterwards, but I thought, well, maybe we should just go ahead and trim it. So this piece here is 4 3/4, 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. So let's go ahead, and I want a piece for the inside. So let's go 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. 4 3/4. That way we're kind of done with that part. And then I'm going to cut this in half, or I'm going to trim it a little bit anyway. I'm going to try to. It's a little warped still from the when I created it. There we go. We're going to use that little strip for the inside. Okay, now let's do this again. So let's bring this in. I'm going to go ahead and ink this up again. And I am going to just stamp this right there. I like it. I just love how it turns out. And then let's go ahead and do, I kind of like the happy times for this one. I just feel like it's a very, with all the blues, it's a very beachy vibe going on, right? So let's just go ahead and go with that. Happy times. I like it. And I'll be honest, I don't remember what colors I used here. I'm going to say like balmy blue and misty moonlight and some color combinations like that. That tends to be some of the blues, but they change up so much when you're doing the watercolor backgrounds. Okay, and we're going to pop this piece up with dimensionals. And now I'm getting down to the wire here, so let's go ahead and trim off some of these. And we'll put that there. That's probably good. Okay, let's bring in our card base. And we're going to attach our basic black to the Azure Afternoon. And then we'll go ahead and attach the card front. Popping that up with the, I used the bigger dimensionals this time. Just popping that up in the center there, just like that. And then let's take our glue. And I have been having issues with this glue, but hopefully it'll work today. Because I know there's glue in it. It just decides not to work sometimes. All right, I have actually two of them in two different stands, but I have one that I know works because it's a brand new one. But I do know that there's glue in that other one. I used it yesterday, as a matter of fact. All right. So this time I'm putting it across the bottom. I think on the other sample I put it across the side, but either way always works. You can do it any way you want. Okay, and we'll flip this over. This will go right here. Then we'll burnish this, and then we'll add our little bit of baker's twine. Again, what I did is tied a little bow here, and then we'll trim it up. And it is this ribbon doesn't like to get really tight, so it was a struggle to tighten it. And then I just use a little tiny glue dot. You can put 1 or 2 on there, whatever you want, but 1 definitely works. You can put a little dot of glue if you want to do it that way too. Okay, there's that right there, and then we'll add some of the Azure Afternoon bling. Right there, looks good. And there you go. There is the second card we did today, and I love it. I love the watercolor backgrounds. I think I could do a whole bunch just with the watercolor backgrounds, honestly. And then here's our watercolor pencil with the new linen stamp background there, which I thought turned out great too. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's projects. If you just are running across this video and have never seen me do videos before, I would love it if you like, follow, share, all of those things. You can follow me out on YouTube, Facebook. You can go out to my blog, and you can get on my email list. That way you don't miss out on anything that goes on with my classes or Stampin' Up! Or any of those things. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will be back again next Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Bye, guys.